How much should I power snatch? Today we talk about how much should you power snatch in terms of frequency, sessions a week, in terms of sets and reps, and also in terms of weight as it relates to your personal best, your 1RM, and as it relates to your body weight. How much should I power snatch? Very common question. So how much can refer to frequency per week? So the amount of sessions where you have the power snatch. In my opinion, the power snatch is an exercise that is highly valuable, but the simple fact that you bring the weight over your head and your upper body and your shoulders need to stabilize the weight, this is actually also where the weakest link is, so your shoulders and your upper body, the upper body strength. That's why I would not prescribe power snatches for more than 2 times a week for athletes that do not compete in Olympic weightlifting. So we're talking about athletes out of any sport that involves running, jumping, throwing, and so on. Olympic weightlifting is different because then the snatch is the competitive exercise. So then it doesn't make sense to just train the competitive exercise or a training exercise only twice a week. We're talking about athletes that want to improve in their sport, which is not Olympic weightlifting. Yeah? So therefore, again, because you have the weight overhead, the weakest link in the chain is most often the shoulders and the structure of the shoulders. I would not prescribe it more than 2 times. If you do the snatch for a powerful triple extension, there are also other exercises you can use, such as the power clean, or just maybe do the pulls. Again, we talk about that in another video. In terms of volume, talking about sets and reps, one thing we need to say, the power snatch is a very technical exercise. So there's not, in my opinion, there's not a lot of sense of doing multiple repetitions at a stretch. So I would not do, let's say, more than 3 or 4 reps at a time. If I want to bring the overall volume up, that's entirely possible by doing more sets. So rather than, I just make up an example, rather than doing 3 sets of 5 repetitions, I would much rather look at 5 sets of 3 repetitions. So you keep the repetitions low and the overall volume, 3 times 5 is 15, 5 times 3 is also 15, so the overall volume is equated, is the same. When we're looking at the loading, so the percentage of the 1RM is the weight that you can lift for 1 repetition. It depends very much what we want to work on. So if we're working more on the speed, strength, and power side, we look at intensities between 60 and 80%. If we're looking more at the force side, we look at intensities of 80 to 100%. So it depends very much what you want to get out of that training for your athletes or for yourself, and that depends on, and that dictates the intensity you choose for your training. When we're looking at loading in relation to body weight, so how much of your body weight should you be able to power snatch? This is a very difficult question, actually. Excuse me for the spelling mistake. So it's a very difficult question to answer. As a rule of thumb, and again, I want to bring that up before, because you see videos where people do power snatches with poor technique and they get hurt. So technical mastery first. You need to learn how to do it. And also very important for the snatch, I didn't talk about that before. Because you have the weight over your head and you are in a squat position, you also need to learn how to lose the weight. So if you are in this position and you feel, I can't make that, I really need to learn before how to lose it to the front or how to lose it to the back. Yeah, so this is something you need to incorporate in your training, learning how to lose the bar. So back to the question, how much in relation of your body weight should you do if you have the technical mastery? For women, I think, from my experience, talking about non-weightlifting athletes, we can look at 0.7 to 1 time their body weight. For men, and we're talking about trained athletes, for men, we can look at 1 time their body weight to 1.2 times their body weight. So this is for athletes that do not compete in Olympic weightlifting. As a recap, amount of sessions per week, I would limit Power Snatch to 1 to 2 sessions because of the weakest link being the shoulder. Sets and reps, repetitions I would keep low because of the technical component and the coordinative component. So the more repetitions you do, the more you see technique breaking down. So you really want to keep the techniques low, keep the repetitions low at 2 to maximum 3 repetitions, and then much rather do more sets. And the last part, the relation to the body weight, or first relation to the 1RM, depending whether you train more for speed, strength and power, 60 to 80%. If you're more training for force, maximum strength, 80 to 100% of your 1RM. And in relation to your body weight, well-trained, technical mastery first, well-trained female athletes, 0.7 to 1. Well-trained male athletes, 1 to 1.2 times their body weight.